Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to Coding Knowledge. In this session, we talk about what is filtering and how to filtering groups using where clause and having clause. So in this session, we have few points to discuss. That is how to filter groups using where clause and filter groups using having clause, filter groups by combine where and having clause, and performance standpoint during filter groups. That is SQL Server optimizer will analyze the performance start point, so we'll discuss later. So difference between where and having clause. So let's flip to my SQL Server. We have few examples there. We'll demonstrate how to use where clause and having clause for filtering groups. So first point is how to filter groups using where clause. So you'll see here, select gender, city, sum of salary as total salary is alias, count of ID as total employee from table underscore employee, where gender equal to male, group by gender, city, and order by city. So here what happened, if let's just remove this where clause. I'll talk about later. First we talk about only the statement that it calculates total salary and total employees by gender and city. So if you execute this, it displays all the results according the by city and gender name for showing total salary and total employees. But here I want to filter by gender male. So I used that is where clause gender equal to male. If you want to know about where clause, visit my previous video session and you will get the link in my description, that is SQL Server tutorial. So if you execute this, so you'll get the result that is male, and for gender only male, there is no other than the male gender. So if you use where clause after group by clause, you get an error. So if you change to after group by, so if you execute this, you'll get an error that is incorrect syntax near keyword where. Where should be before the group by clause. So it is the best placement of group by clause for get executing your SQL statement for successful. Okay, now filter groups using having clause. So what I do is, so this is the our primary statement. If you just put here filter groups using having clause, you just put here that is having gender equal to male. If you select the same result I have got here, that is male, no, there are no other than male, no female, no undefined, nothing, that only male, using having clause for filtering groups. So same, if you use having clause before group by, you'll get an error. So if you place the having clause here in having clause before the group by, so you'll get an error that is incorrect syntax. It should be after group by. So difference between where clause and having clause is, first thing, you should use where clause before group by and having clause after group by. Okay. Then talk about my next point, that is point number 3. If you execute both query, then you will get the same result here. Okay. Now first statement is about having clause, and second state is about where clause. So you'll check both statements will show exact same result or not. You just execute this. So you'll see here both statements are showing us the same result. So having clause showing us the same result, male, Bhubaneswar, Delhi, 3 total employees, 2 total employees. And for where clause, it also returns same result set, that is 2 rows are affected, 2 are male, Bhubaneswar, Delhi, and total salary as same as our previous data, that is using having clause, and total number of employees are 3 and 2. Okay, but filtering rows using where clause before aggregation takes place and filtering groups using having clause all after all aggregation takes place. So filtering rows using where clause before aggregation. So before aggregation it takes place, that is before aggregation it takes place where clause, because select statement returns the row result set. So before aggregation takes place, the where clause returns the result, but filtering groups using having clause after all aggregation takes place. So here having clause will take place after the aggregation takes place. So here specially both things are filtering rows using where clause before aggregation takes place and filtering rows filtering groups using having clause after all aggregation takes place. That is both are very important statements by showing the difference between where clause and having clause. So let's go to the next point, that is point number 4. So where clause can be used with select, insert or update statement, but having clause only used with select statement. Okay, now we just select star from, that is TBL employee. If you check this and you see here the result as it was earlier mentioned, I just want to update Manoj to Manoj Das, Manoj to anything, Manoj to Saroj, and using where clause. So I want to update TBL employee and set name equal to Saroj, where ID equal to 2. If you execute this, it is successfully executed using where clause. So update statement execution successfully taken place using where clause. So it works, and same thing we need to update the name using having clause. Let's see what happens. I just want to update that is ID number 3, that is 3 is Jaspal to Satya. I just want to update here. If you execute this, okay, I just mention here having, and if you select here execution, see here incorrect syntax near the keyword having, so it does not works. So it means where clause only can be used select, insert, update statement, and but having clause only used with the select statement, not used with the update, insert statements. Okay, next point is fifth one, that is aggregate function cannot be used in where clause. Okay, now I'll tell you with one example here. So where clause cannot be used in aggregate function cannot be used in where clause. So select star from TBL underscore employee, where sum of salary greater than 3000. So let's execute this. If see here, it throws an error. An aggregate may not appear in the where clause. The error is aggregate function may not appear in the where clause unless it is in a subquery contained in having clause or select list and the column being aggregate in an outer reference. So main thing is where clause can that is aggregate function in you can use where clause. It cannot work unless it is in a subquery contained in a having clause. So it is not possible to use aggregate function using where clause. It throws an error, as you expecting here. Okay, now my next point number 6 is aggregate function can be used in having clause. So here I just where to having I will execute this. If you see here, column tbl employee.id is invalid in the select list, but it does not contain it is not contained in either an aggregate function or the group by clause. So it is not a correct statement for implementing aggregate function using having clause. So it is throws an error without group by clause. So what I do is I just mention here, if you go to my this, I'll copy here, just check it, group by city, gender and city, and I just I don't want the order by, I just mention here that is having sum of salary, having clause sum of salary and greater than 8,000. Let's see it works or not. So if you execute this, you'll check here, that is the records are in total salary, it is showing us greater than 8,000. It is not it is not less than 8,000. So here aggregate function using having clause working using having clause, it works. So in this way we can use aggregate function using having clause. So this statement using having clause is not a appropriate statement, and below statement is a perfect query for executing having clause for implementing aggregate function. So that's the big difference between where clause and having clause on the scenario of implementing aggregate function. And the next and final point is it possible to combine where and having clause? Yes, it is possible to combine where and having clause. So how it is possible? So I'll write one statement here, select city sum of salary as total salary, that is my alias, from tbl employee where gender equal to male, group by I want total salary by city only, and having clause 2 for filtering records, that is city name, group by city, and having clause for filtering groups, where to filtering groups for city equal to Delhi. So this statement means I want total salary by city name for filtering groups in two conditions, that is gender should be male and city should be Delhi. If you execute this, you'll get that is Delhi, and if you just want to check the gender here, that is gender. Okay, now I will execute this. Okay, I just want to copy here, paste here, remove the comma here, I just execute this. See here. Okay, now I'll just mention the gender, I forgot. Okay, so I'll execute this. See here, so it is showing the result, that is one row is affected, that it shows the total salary by city and gender in the by filtering records, that is gender should be male and city should be Delhi. So for city Delhi, the total salary is 14,590 and gender is male. In this way, we can filtering groups using group by filtering groups using hubbing clause and where clause in a single select statement. So it is possible to combine where and hubbing clause. It is a very important interview questions you can face. So is it possible to combine where and hubbing clause? Yes, it is possible. So you can show them the statement. So that was fine now. So this up to my practical session of this topic. So next, flip to my presentation. So here we just check few definitions and for theoretical part of this video session there. Okay, now filtering groups. Where clause is used to filter rows before aggregation and hubbing clause is used to filter groups after aggregation. So in performance standpoint, SQL Server Optimizer analyzes each and every statement using where clause and hubbing clause and select an best way of executing it automatically. You don't need to mention manually. It is an automatic process by SQL Server Optimizer. So I think there is no performance issue if you use where clause and hubbing clause. It is decided by the SQL Server Optimizer. And for better result scenario, implement the syntax that describes the appropriate required result. Whatever your requirement, that only you mention, and try to remove unnecessary rows that you don't need as soon as possible. So that is our perspective for performance standpoint. And what are the difference between where clause and hubbing clause? It's very important interview questions by the interviewer during the SQL Server interview questions. And here difference is where clause can be used with select, insert and update statement. You already have checked in the practical session. And hubbing clause can only be used with select statement, where filter rows before aggregation, that is grouping, and hubbing clause after the aggregation for filtering the groups or grouping. Aggregate function cannot be used in where clause unless it is in a subquery contained in hubbing clause. So you already have checked this error, that is aggregate function cannot be used in the where clause unless it is in a subquery contained in hubbing clause, and aggregate function can be used in a hubbing clause successfully. So this is my YouTube channel. You can share this, subscribe it, and you'll get the up-to-date knowledge on .NET, .NET Core, SQL Server, Angular, Azure Data Factory, and few Bootstrap related interview questions, .NET Core interview questions. You can get the ebook link in the description section and download it, the download PDF, and prepare for better interview results. So we have learned the below details in this agenda, that is filter groups using where clause, filter groups using hubbing clause, filter groups using by combining where and hubbing clause, and performance standpoint during filter groups. So and what are the difference between where and hubbing clause? Where you can also get the questions in this way, where clause versus hubbing clause. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening and have a great day.